European number. This teeny tiny European
That doesn't
shorts.
go well together. Short.
You don't. I don't know if you see it actually. You know, like European shorts. Like
no, I've no clue what a
short shorts. Like 70s.
Oh, is that a European short?
Yeah, Milos was European shorts.
Okay.
Like American shorts is like modern American. It's like baggier, like basketball sort of shorts. European shorts, it's like hello, welcome to Europe, but in shorts.
Oh, which accent was that?
Yeah, it's a European accent.
It sounds more like some Scandinavian kind of area somewhere.
Zero is gone. Yeah, Zero is gone. That makes sense for Bank because he's really good here, and it's one of the two maps for me. He really shines. Chalet and here, and I think it's a very good removal. Generally, it's not even like a specific removal. Some teams do use him a lot more than others, but.
I mean, it makes quite sense, right? You have that 1 zap per camera, meaning 4 zaps, and you just shoot one up on the rooftop or the ceiling of the lobby. You can instantly take out whatever piece of utility is at what we call the Kanto wall, the double one, next to the elevators. It's easy to get rid of a mute jammer there, for example. Allow your heart breach to then open up from a range. Suddenly a very long angle has been created. Of course, you can do the same thing with the Twitch, but it requires a bit more parkour skill, you can say. Maybe a bit more time to cancel it or counter it as well. Either way, it's an instant Amaru that is being picked up by Pasha, at least hovered over. Of course, will always depend on what they will find during the drone phase. They have that attacker repick now, so they could theoretically swap out all 5 attacking operators. Nothing will change, however, from the defenders, and they will be going bottom floor. So an Amaru, it's not necessarily known for its strength here at the bottom floor. I mean, there's no hatch you can go up into the side on. Theoretically, you can drop in, plant, and go back up. But what we could see the Amaru for, never mind, has been repicked. I was gonna theory craft here. Could see for some quick top floor control if there was roamers, but of course you have no clue yet. And the Amaru stays in pocket for now. It becomes a Twitch. Zofia turns into a Finka, Buck into a Monty. So what that tells me is that we might see a CCTV side push just right through the tunnel, try and get the plant in right behind that big shield whilst you waste utility and maybe try and bounce back some of those Molotov cocktails being tossed at you by the Shoemaker launcher of WTG.
Okay, here outsiders, they're generally in the better swing of things, as was predicted by all of y'all at home, and pretty much all of us y'all here in terms of who we think is going to take this, because Pwns have had sort of moments, Pwns have had these little builds and bits, but outsiders have really, apart from the most recent Playday, played a hell of a thing, and although they're currently sitting in 8th, at the start of the last Playday, they were around the top 2, I believe it was. It's how quickly things shifted after a couple of sort of missed moments, and suddenly you find yourselves now towards the bottom, but it's really, you know, there's a reason we're this far into the season and nobody's locked in. There's not a huge gap between the sort of first, second. I think after today we'll start to see some names crossed out.
Yeah, I mean, after at this point in APAC, of course, we already had it locked in mostly. However, APAC is also 2 less play days. So after today, we will get a bit of a better picture on at least the top 2. I dare to say maybe the 4 teams that will be competing for the last 2 spots. Of course, there's always room for an outsider that will be able to get in and sneak in if everything goes as planned. Exodus might have been spotted here, actually. Tries to rotate out, and it's the entry. Milan will find it quite cleanly here. It's a 4-on-5, and that's a good start for the attack. 2 walls opened up as well. The Twitch drones coming around to see if they can take out any PC utility. Think of these ADSs, for example, just to make it a little bit easier to go for a plant in a bit.
Well, they've been pushed really far back off the side itself. They still have the extension of the Tachanka. They have themselves deep buried on the backside of Garage. The grenades roll their way through. They have the Monty that's just going to see if he can try and keep the protection on the plant. There's an attempt to stop that fire, and it's not in the right place. FMX can stick that out the whole way. No!
Yes, he did.
Just almost gets dropped. You're right, he did. He pulled it off on a split second. The Monty had to move as well. They take a huge amount of damage. Milan takes a little bit more, but with a bit of a trade-off, they get rid of the Tachanka now. They have the smokes. Warden can see through, and Scythe is going to have to go for a big rotate over the top. Smash is waiting. Does he know he's there? 3, 2, 1. No. Smash gets a very easy pickup. There's 20 seconds left. Andreezy went for the mid-floor rotate, but now that body's out of the way. Well, that's not going to do it. They're still there, still watching with a Monty. They're probably going to be able to watch very close. Andreezy here, the last one left in a 4 versus 1. They have every single story and a Monty blocking the door. You might be able to get an exit. Unfortunately, not even that. Outsiders.
Sound like a suppressed LMG. I didn't even hear any of these bullets, but it wasn't the case. And oh, that's the strength of that gun there. You can just keep firing in a 1v4 situation there. You know where he is. There's no way out there. Well played by Outsiders there. I mean, they realized that if they managed to get the plan down, round basically won already in such a situation. You open up both these angles. There is no way to sneakily go for a bit of a defuse there. So if you have 1 or 2 members still alive when they attempt a retake, there is no way that they're going to be able to get away with that. And they exactly have shown that. Well played by them there. The Shumikas not landing far enough, really. They thought it was going to be the default plant, but it was the plant behind the Monty. And as they tried to bounce it off, so the default bounce is off the exit sign that is right above the default plant. That makes it drop dead on the ground. That means that that area is going to be fired upon. However, if you are on that wall that is directly looking at the Shumika where it came from, that won't reach it. Of course, normally you would be able to shoot it. Perfectly portrayed now by medics, by the way. This line of sight that is currently being shown,
well,
that doesn't reach it. Now, of course, it can be shot, but if there's a Monty in front of it, that's not going to be working either. Come on, medics. And
Medics is obsessed with.
He's so obsessed with that. It's been weeks.
One day we'll get it. We're going to force him on the show to onto the middle of the stage.
That's all he's saying to us every single time.
Every single time. Medic slides up in our ears.
Yeah. Either way, it is again. It is a good first round, and they're bringing the exact same lineup. So we might expect a bit of change of pace here from the side of Pwns. Maybe they will get these Shumikas in a bit deeper this time.
Well, I think one of the changes that we have here is more of a presence over the top of open. It was where Milon got himself in and got himself that early entry kill, but at the same time, they'd already done some work down in server. They sort of read, okay, well, we can try and push our way through here. Rask is down, playing on the bottom of blue stairs, but, you know, they're not entirely fully confident because they don't have that hatch control. They don't have that space above them. There's a bit of pressure, there's a bit of noise, and there's a bit of Buck making sure that he gets that open and that soft wall starts to fall. There's still an idea and still some pressure and control there over the top of open. Are they being watched, and what can they do with it is the big question.
Now, they left it soft this time, maybe in the hope that they could fire upon the exothermics, or they used them elsewhere due to the fact that there was no holding back there. Smoke canisters are being popped. Milon very close up here to the teller side. Finds one, is instantly turning around because he knows he's being hunted. There is one in the kitchen. There's also one on the top of square. Will not be able to find out one. They will gang up on him there. And now with the hatch opened up in the top of square, that is going to be a problem. They cannot actually go for that plant now. They need to get rid of these players right on top of them, and they have a man less to do so. Pasha will be going on that hunt. Seems like FMX has rotated around as well, so it will be a 2-on-2 fight around that hatch.
Yeah, Scyther and Mission are just watching and waiting. Nothing Rask can do at this point. They're going to see if they can get themselves crept in, but how quiet can you be? Pasha, they're just over on the soft wall, and there's the take onto the first. The spray through doesn't quite connect. Scyther a little bit short, gives the game away, and Pasha's going to swing round. It's a heck of a gun, but not quite good enough. The umps his way back through in open. FMX is going to see if he can step up to the mantle. That's not the right gadget to pop round a corner, but the gun will work just as well. A 2 versus 2, 40 seconds. They push their way down via beepers in blue, but you're looking at still that Tajanka, that big problem. With the damage done to FMX, he's not really going to be able to sit himself in a fire if one does bounce that way, and with how much is still in pocket, he can sort of just start popping these willy-nilly. 20 seconds. FMX over the back line. They've got to come up with something creative fast, but with that close player behind the chassis, there's no route through. Is that just in range? It is. They can't get the angle. They're bouncing over the top. Andreezy's got to take the fire wider and wider, but they get the plant, they get the down, they get both.
They got both in the end there, well played, but it seemed like it could have almost ended the wrong way there. These Shumikas were bouncing back off the shield, buying a little bit more time for the plant to eventually go down. And as you saw the Monty then crowd controlling the player, going aggressive there into the fire, Well, it was just because the Tachanka came around the corner, able to pick up these last 2 kills. Otherwise, we might have found ourselves in a 2-0 situation for Outsiders now. I have to commend them, though. They realized that top floor was an issue. Milan, he was playing close, found one, but there was 2 other players hunting him down at that moment in time, and there was no way that he was going to be able to walk away with more than 2 kills there, and eventually he stuck with just 1. However, they went for the rotate at that point, and they wanted to kill these 2. They managed to do so successfully, and that allows you to go back for the plant. You turn it back into a 2-2, and look at this. The Monty just perfectly shielding off the planter here. The fire eventually gets the buck, though, and WTG still, Rask still turning around, allows WTG to get the shots in with that DP27. And that allowed them to lock off the round. But they almost pulled it off there. They wanted to go for the plant, and if the fire, that last Shumika, didn't land where it did, it could have been their round because the buck would still be alive.
Oh, Pasha, what are you doing with Amaru? I think I'm going to go for something quick onto the top. A big rotation in terms of operator selection. Maybe they assumed a different site, or they just wanted to see if they can get themselves set up with a bit of a talk and then go into the selection and the reselection later. A bit of pace can be applied over the top here if they want to, and there is a hatch route up into open. It's not the most common seen sort of thread, because usually there'll be players underneath and a bit of a threat there anyway, rather than going for that full entrance. And you'll see most teams go for the top-down control here, but you never really know when it's 2 teams that have a familiarity with themselves that at least some of these 10 players do.
It's important to mention, actually, Pasha wanted to go for the Amaru in round 1, but then they found out it was indeed the basement, so used that repick to get off it. So it's something they have been waiting to use. It's something that they really want to use to their advantage here, and he's going up to the roof, or at least holding off a tight angle here, looking for maybe a roamer, maybe someone around in the front teller's office or in that open area. It looks like indeed he might be aiming for that hatch to just jump up, because he is headed towards the garage. That is going to be that basement. But look at that. Pre-play C4s on the side of Exodus there. He's just waiting for someone to start opening up vertically above.
Yeah, perfectly caught. Milan's got himself onto white stairs. He wants to try and push his way further down, but he's waiting for some of the presents to actually start to pop, because he has to offer that level of support. This fight coming up from underneath could be the most important one. Pasha, there'll be potentially some softs he has to get through, but obviously the hatch itself is, well, entirely softed. He could go for a direct route up. No route there. At least not a quiet one. Oh, please do it. They're still getting pings. I think there's been a bit of a call and an idea that there's a player playing around Garage, but Andreezy doesn't want to give his game and position away, but Passion needs something else to happen before he can try and pull the trigger and go for what could be an absolute dynamite play. There has to be something else driven right now, and that's the pressure onto Outsiders. Sure, there's the Buck making some work above, but the pressures of Pawns haven't really been forced out of play or place. Ras gets the opener. That buys them at least this man advantage. That might buy them some intel onto the site, and that might buy Pasha the start of a play.
Now the flashbangs will be tossed into blind anybody potentially out there, and that is going to be the cue. The second one pops, he is in, he's jumping over, he gets the kill as well. That's a double opening on the direct side, but still someone in the small offers instantly traded out. FMX with the plant is instantly trying to capitalize on it as well, but he's not allowed to pull it off. Rask from the hatch will be able to lock it in. 2 kills for him. And that is going to be a very quick round. A third attempt to plant. This one didn't quite go down, so they are stuck on 2. But Outsiders, they started off really strong here on Bank.
It's always a rare treat to see an Amaru come up from a hatch. Obviously, it got the kill, it netted it, and it was a sort of, the idea there was let's attack them suddenly from a couple of different fronts. They got the opening kill, and that was the important part, because you could see for a long time they were sort of trying to weigh up, you know, they were in position. You had Milan holding the top of the stairs. They could do some work above. There wasn't a loose player on the top floor that they could catch, and they couldn't put the pressure onto the bottom of white stairs. They knew it was softed, so they knew they couldn't suddenly get rushed in the corridor, but still, you need something to happen before you can go for something like that. Otherwise, you're just sort of feeding yourself into the hot drop slaughter. It worked, and it worked very well for Outsiders, and that's that sort of pace that this roster's been able to apply. It's been really fun to watch their attacks come together this season.
Yeah, and you cannot all go from the same point. If you do, you're not really sowing any chaos underneath the defense. So what they did here is go for that overwhelming strategy. You see someone coming up from the main stairs through that double door. You see them coming in from the hatch drops, from the small side office, and through the hatch below. Everything together is sowing so much chaos in comms, but also, you know, everybody is dealing with their own player at the same time. that it is just favoring the attack here. If everybody would be going through the same double door, through the same hatch, the defenders have an absolute easy time locking that one off. So, well played there by Outsiders, and I'm curious to see how they will be using that same strategy in this site here. Again, the Amaru is on the board, so we might see a quick rush in from one of those 2 side windows, or 4 side windows, we have to say, onto the direct site. But again, something else needs to happen first. They need to have some openings, they need to have some control, and also other players need to be in a position to start pushing in. So that is probably what we will see Outsiders do within the next minute, just trying to get everybody in a good position.
Holding on to angles and waiting to see if somebody goes a little bit wide, a wing to be clipped on a window, and hope that they can try and get the full catch on the body. There's pings and continual usage, but it's still that getting into position here that's the main point of focus. The player buried into Kanto corner here with a bit of support is going to meet a Monty in just a second, who's making sure that his back isn't going to get stabbed on the side of the banana. A little bit more dangerous than the potassium-soaked other side. The first flash will be caught by the Warmai disc, the second won't, and that allows this grenade to bounce its way around, destroy the mute jammer, and take out everything that was holding in that place. But without that true pop there, the most important part is the catch here. The X-Kairos will just get off before that wall gets stopped, I believe. There it is. The connection comes through, the Kaid Claw is destroyed, and now Kanto is a little bit less playable.
Yeah, that is now a long angle that can be held from the window, and that will give it a little bit more safety towards Rask as soon as he knows that the elevator is indeed safe. However, due to the fact that it hasn't been opened up closest to the heart wall, it means that there is still an opportunity for players to be there, and that's exactly what is going on right now. A C4 popped, it's going to deal a lot of damage, and Pasha going up from the elevator hatch soon, it seems, to try and put some pressure on a mission, but he will die first.
Well, there it is, the trade down the corridor, no connection here, and Pawns bite back with a couple of important kills. Milom, he's inside the door, just trying to see if he can find a way through the reception desk and get himself a meeting with the CEO on the back line, but they're not going to hand anything else over, so he needs the Secretary Rask to do that. Pop round the corner, pop a couple of bullets, and get a lucky pick. Apart from WTG, the Echo is trying to cause some problems, and the Finker isn't going to have any of it. 30 seconds, pulls away, and gets the self removed to the buff. There's a take onto the Echo, a bit of revenge, and Rask going for the plant itself. No more drones to stop this. There's a bit of a movement there. The Monty's the man with the kit in pocket, but FMX is the one with the bullets.
Well played by them there, and while this one was a pretty linear kind of attack, they wanted to open up Kento, they did so with the X-Kairos, they get rid of the player that is playing aggressively near the elevators. Instantly after...
I don't think it isn't. I just asked
odd.
I just asked production like 3 times and they didn't respond at all, and I think I've done something to make them mean, or Milosh has besmirched my good name.
Oh, let me ask. Sometimes they respond to me.
You ask and they probably will respond. If they respond to Ab, I'm gonna scream.
I've asked. I'm waiting.
Yeah. We're finding out if...
We're finding out.
Because it doesn't feel right to be an Outsider's timeout with how in control they are.
I was going to say, because they...
It was Outsider's timeout.
Because they look really confident here. Like, their attacks are really working out well for them. They're just completely picking apart Pawns. So, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's due to them expecting a round or a site to be played that they've lost before, and they really want to hammer down on this attack here. They want to get 5 rounds just to make sure that the advantage will last. We are headed back towards the open area, though. And we've seen this one before. It was an Amaru that came up through the hatch just to pick up a kill, and then after that, Rask from the hatch able to pick up a double as well. Those are 3 kills that went their way, of course followed up by an opening onto the side. That is just a single player left at that point. And well, there's no Amaru now. That means there's going to be a different kind of approach coming out from Outsiders.
I think that's the strange thing, is to take the time out, it wasn't even that the rounds were... Sure, there was some back and forth, and sure there was some death, and sure they've lost one of the 4 rounds that they've played here, but they've been trying some interesting little pocket plays with the Amaru. They've been pushing these little angles, and those things, you know, it doesn't really beget the idea that they're struggling. I guess it's up to them. You know, we don't know the team comms. We don't know if maybe they just wanted to have a little bit of a moment and let Pawns stew in the mistakes and see if they can try and push that as a bit of momentum. Either way, if they can try and cement this to a 4-1 and then suddenly you're on a 5-1, it does make that second half on your defense on bank that much potentially quicker. Buried in and locked off. They're doing a slow approach once again, trying to find the positions of the Pawns players and see if they can try and stretch them. There's no, as you said, Amaru before this time, but it seems like the focus is more on the top floor and maybe the quad wall or square.
Yeah, it could potentially be, and pre-placed C4s are going to be removed with those Gone 6s. Quick use of the utility there. Do not want to risk Smash his life there. They need to keep him in the game, and grenades being thrown in perfectly as well to get rid of the castle barricades are opening it up. I was for a second, is it using the M762? But no, it's the LMGE. It's just a holographic, something we do not very often see on the LMG.
Gives you a little bit more close quarters swagger, and I guess when you're going with the punch and the positioning that they want to try and have a little bit more of that, well, snappiness. Pasha, the slow creep round underneath. They're pulling the rotations. There's pings of players. They still have a presence underneath in the basement as Exodus tries to rotate his way back round. Here's the pressure onto the quad wall. They have some pings, and they have to make sure they keep some control here of the swing and the rotation that might come through from Andreezy. FMX, where are you going to position this? Andreezy right into the head of Pasha. That really opens up a bit of a problem now. They're behind. There's the ping and the swing of utility. They probably got that thermite, but they're also able to try and put down a second one. The worry is 40 seconds.
Well, they didn't actually try it. Big mistake coming through there. They could have just opened that one up with the Buck and try and get it inside, and that is going to be the heart breach gone. Nothing left. Buck also not using a secondary heart breach gadget. That means they will be forced to go through this little office here, and as FMX goes down, it is all slowly falling apart here. Smash finds himself in a small office. Milan gets taken out. It's a 1v4 opportunity here. Spots one, finds one as well. The Maestro closing the corner is going to be able to do some damage to WTG, but he comes out on top. A bit of a misplay coming out here, maybe too aggressive towards the bottom. Also, after I praise them for using the Adrenaline Surge, lack of use of utility this time to try and get that wall open up properly. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened after that timeout, but that wasn't really like any of the other rounds we've seen from Outsiders. So, I missed a little bit of the wit here that they had in previous rounds.
I think some of the times what we're seeing here is a little bit up, a little bit down, a little bit of a disconnect there. There was obviously Andreezy. If that kill underneath had gone the other way and Pasha had won out, then they would have had a lot more control. He's able to strike again for a double because the security of blue is a big part of being able to get the quad wall open. Instead of just being able to focus your utility to drive on a single push, you got 30 seconds, you haven't got that open, you still got to come up with a plan B at the same time as maybe trying to have a Hail Mary swing and make plan A work. If it doesn't quite get the connection, well, we see what happens. 3-2. Outsiders now trying to get themselves angled with the fourth back down to Lockers. It's been back and forth before. And this time, well, Monty's back on the board. For now, there's going to be the change to the Buck as well. Are they going to try a different approach?
Possibly, but doubt it. I think we will see the exact same push coming out as before. Maybe we will see the Heart Breach gadgets actually coming through in FMX. There we have it. So there is still Heart Breach on the board. So whether they keep it soft or they keep it reinforced doesn't really matter right now. FMX is going to be able to open it up either way. Monty, like, they're probably going to go for the long plans, you know, the one that they've tried twice before. And what you just need then is the Monty to walk in through the door. You jump in through the small hole you made from the can opener, and you're still going to be safe there. So you do not need that full opening. The one tricky part of it is, though, that it provides a little bit more safety towards defenders and actually trying to go for a long-arm defuse there. So that is something they do desperately need to keep in mind here on the side of Outsiders. There's No?
I was going to say, it seems like now they're putting more pressure onto open. They're trying to find a fight here. They're trying to drive themselves in and get a little bit more aggressive onto the players that are holding for the mid. And last time they were able to sort of ignore them for a bit longer. They tried to drive themselves directly into the server and onto the site attempt itself. This time, a slightly different angle and idea. Exodus has been forced into a new rotation. They are going to actually pull off. Instead of trying to find the full engagement, they think, well, we've done enough just to make them a bit uncomfortable. And here we can see if we can try and get that wall open.
Again, they just need top square. They just need the bottom here and the wall open up. That's all they need. And yes, of course, there's going to be 14 Shumikas. That is going to be wasting a lot of time. Actually, 12. And that's going to waste a lot of time. But at some point, they will be trying to stick it off anyway. You know, a couple of them are going to be bouncing off the Monty. A couple of them are going to be used on the default plans, which most likely will not be used at this time. And at some point, they'll run out. And if they do not have that top square control on the side of Pwns, well, then they're just going to be freely allowed to play here with Milan. That is just going to be protecting their flank here. So everything for now seems to be going just fine.
Well, can they try and start executing onto the site is the big question. A minute 12 and a big rotation that's coming through over the top of the hatches. They have themselves now an opening round onto the top of blue. Milan's going to keep himself with a little bit of width. He knows he doesn't have to intently take these fights, but he's sure to win the first. The second is going to come from a split angle, and there it is, but he's able to pop that player inside archives before he's taken. That now leaves them in a 4 versus 2 situation on the site with 50 seconds to be able to burn through.
Mission will be able to find Smash as well, though. Pasha quickly rotates up the blue stairs. Is going to be able to shut him down, and that leaves it all up to WTG. He cannot use the Shumika launcher right now. It's just not the right time. Pasha will lock him off as well, and that is going to be a 4th round on the attack here for the side of Outsiders. And, well played by them again. They saw, okay, they locked themselves in an open area. This works for us. They've been doing the same take 3 times in a row, and the one time they really struggled was when the open area was being contested by the defenders. No, top square, was being contested by the defenders. And not the case this time. They had one all the way up on that top floor. They had Milan playing near the blue stairs that allowed them to shut out these angles. And, well, even though both died, it was enough time for a 3rd member to rotate up and pick up the scraps and lock off that area for good. So well played by them there. 3 times the same approach. 2 times it was successful because only once, the top square hatch was being challenged. And that was the weak point of that whole attack. Not realized quickly enough by Pones there. They should have been maybe putting a bit more pressure in there. Either way, it is going to be reversed on the roles now. Pones is on the attack. It is Outsiders on the defense. And they're headed towards the top floor. This setup, I said it before, we saw it on Pones' side as well. It is aimed, well, mostly towards the top square parts, towards the square. Often they do try and open up these walls. They try and go for a bit of a plant right behind the desk of the bomb chassis, but with these angles open up, the castle barricades the way they are, you provide yourself with some good support to challenge from the B bomb site to stop them from doing so, to stop them from opening up, to get in, to plant, and that's why the response from the attackers normally is to go through the lobby, to go for that spiral push. And that is something that Pasha will try and lock off with Electroclaws, maybe on Kanto, if they do decide to open up. But if you look at the board as well here, it's going to be Claymore set outside, but more importantly, Capitao on the board. So smokes and fire arrows available for use.
Now, as they go for their approach onto open, they're going to see if they can try and get a little bit more, I guess, control of this game. Everything's been sort of taken out of the side of Pones. I'm sure they've got a couple of rounds, but only really one of them was a little bit decisive. The others sort of were a continuation of being beaten. Outsiders kept on being able to drive themselves over Pones, and as I said, outside of that singular instance, it's generally been their show, their control. Pasha's locked in onto Kanto. The taste of how quick this comes is going to be the sort of drive that we get an idea of here. If we throw our minds back, obviously it was a bit of a Pones defense, and Outsiders pushed it with a huge amount of dedication. The balance utility starts to come through, the burns and the flashes, with Exodus going a little bit wide with the grenade. It perfectly pulls him apart, opens the hatch as well, and drops the body to the 2nd floor.
Well played there. He was completely blinded, didn't even see the nade indicator there because of that flashbang, and, well, found himself picked up. Kanto will be opened up. There's going to be a long line of sight now that is going to be able to be held from that window. Provides a bit more security if you want to go up these spiral stairs, because it's an angle less you have to worry about. Still have 2 players near the actual rappel on the A bomb site. However, it's the sledge, and it is going to be Andreezy on that Capitao. Smoke and asphyxiating bolts will be used for this execute and will be, well, attempted to get a plant inside, but Saiter already repelling in here is going to be opening up on the banana. That is going to be even more pressure down onto the defensive side now.
Trying to put the pressure into CEO behind the chassis. The swing of the grenade is mainly just to stop him, but it's a mission that's able to hop up over the top and get one. FMX tries to retake banana, but can't quite confirm the kill, and now knows he'll be pushing into superior firepower, so pulls himself back. Smash with a C4 is going to see if he can try and do something huge underneath, and to be honest, you kind of got to... It's a 5 versus 2, and they've been able to get full control over the side. Now it's 5 versus 1, and you've only got that single backline player here. Milon, he's got everything to do. He's able to find the first and swings himself a bit wider, but a little bit too short to get the second. Pones open up with their first attack.
SMG, not the greatest weapon to try and go for snipes up on such a window there. Recoil's a bit too high, so you got to go for those bursts. And you saw it there. Managed to get a hit out, but not more than that. And Outsiders lose their first offensive round. We'll decide to go to staff and open next. Not going for that top floor straight away, so continuing the rotation of some sorts. Let's see how their hold will be. And Exactly like I said, is, that hold is majorly favoring the defense when the attack does come down from the square side. If it does come down from the lobby, though, grenades, like we just saw, getting rid of that elevator player and the electroclaw opens up such a long line of sight, such a long angle, that the defenders are basically locked in the site. There's nothing really they can do anymore at that point. And, we saw outsiders try and go for some aggressive swings, but they were being punished one by one because Pwns was in that advantage. They were all already near that site, and it was just a matter of time until they won that one. And there's the change coming in. They want to go for a different opportunity here. Now, we do see the Thunderbird. It is being placed in that stronghold position, the one that we saw the Amaru neutralize before with the hatch jump in. And that means that the player out there, if does receive any scrap damage from grenades swinging around a corner or anything else, will be healed back up to full at an instant, because both of those will, pop at the same time if there is enough HP to heal.
It's another approach here from Pwns, and they made sure that they pretty much masterclassed that previous one. Outsiders suffered on the other end of what was an absolute break breach ballast over the sort of back bastion line. It left just a single player, and it seemed like a multifaceted hold as well. They had themselves watching the rotate on the bottom. They had themselves in control of the other split and swing, and the players that might find themselves going for a bit of pressure rotation. Amision, he's in here, hot, hard, and heavy, real fast as he's trying to put some pressure on, but Rask being able to bite open the first head and take care of Scyther puts them in a slightly riskier position. They want to hold on. With the Thermite sort of trying to offer some support above, it needs to be a bit of a focus onto Milan.
Needs to be a focus indeed, and this mission is going on the drone here is quite dangerous. Milan now knows someone should be close, could have heard a little piece of information there, but will be still quite safe. Has a shotgun, has an SMG-11 to play with, so plenty of gunpowder there to make sure he sticks out. Verticalities are being opened up, though, but needs to be a bit careful here, Exodus, because C4s could be flying in at any moment now. There's a couple of them on the board. The first one pops, is unable to find him. A second one is being tossed in, gets exploded as well. It's just going to be helping Exodus here in his quest and journey to open up that top floor here and force them out.
Amision is able to find Milan with the big spray. Rask just caught out on the rotate. Exodus is going to cement this with a grenade just to make sure he gets the confirm on the kill. Rask is able to survive, though. Just rolled around the safety of the cement wall, and they're making sure nobody swings around because it's an important body to try and get. Amision, in the meantime, has moved into the space that's been opened up. A minute on. They still have a huge amount of time, and as Rask, the doctor is in, gets himself healed back up to full. He's able to try and put a bit of focus now on towards the site itself. It's a 4 versus 4, and although it seemed a bit of a slow start, here, Pwns have everything that they can work with.
Have everything they need, indeed. Opening needs to be made and will be made. However, Pasha is playing close, has impacts available, yes. Even though the crouch will be coming through, that could be tricked. No, he misses it. The second one is too late, and that means the quad wall will be opened up. The one salvation right now is going to be the castle barricade that is still shut. Pasha finds one, but that castle barricade opens up as well.
Osa on the door is going to pull themselves back, but get the ping on the player. They're making sure they can use this as a bit of width. They don't have the body advantage, though, and that's the big risk. The smoke canisters come through. The player digs in. There's a close fight against, and the solidity of the kill behind. There's a pre-fire, but not quite enough, as they find themselves in a 2 versus 1, but lost in the smoke. It was just one more to cement. 5-3.
I was going to say, the plans was actually being attempted. They were right behind the kitchen counter, but quickly shut down as they needed to continue to go for these frags because the Maestro was a bit of a bigger problem than they might have thought, playing close on that opening. And a 3-on-5, Outsiders just needing a singular round left now to pick up a point 2 for the full 3. And Lockers seems to be the decided point to go to next. If you look at the lineup here, there's no swapping anymore. What is the denial? There's no smoke. There's no Tachanka. There's no echo. We have a C4. That's it. We have a C4. That's going to be all they have to try and counter off this plant with. So you really got to hope that they have some good ideas to try and stop them from trying to go for that plant. Because as soon as they do and you throw that C4 and it doesn't quite net the kill, no, they have free reign. They can do whatever they want. So probably a bit more aggression up to that top floor, making sure that you have the top square under control and the hatches closed off elsewhere to stop them from truly pushing through. That is what I expect. Maybe some ADSs on the blue stairs with some new jammers to stop them from pushing the CCTV staircase. You play that with a shotgun? No, they're locking it off. All right, so it does indeed seem. Okay, 2 castle barricades, 1 janitor, 1 on the on the blue stairs. So they are indeed going to play on the top of square there. So that is going to be their plan. So they don't have denial. Everything relies on keeping control of that one hatch.
Okay, a presence that's going to come over the top floor. Let's see if we can, I guess, try and bring some of this back in. It's the 5-3 situation. It's still not done, but 1 round separates them from being able to take a very needed 3 points from this and a maximum of 2 outsiders. They still have the drive and the drive to try and reset themselves as one of those top board players and look towards the major, look towards having one of those top 4 spots here. It's Exodus holding onto the angle and seeing if they can try and force the player. Rask is sort of positioned on the stairs itself with Milan on the back line, and it's how isolated they think they can find one or the other. At the moment, they can try and support each other, but as Rask gets forced down, Milan, you're in a very tricky situation. The pre-fires come through, the drone and the reveal, and there's a very well-dedicated pickup.
When the LMG starts firing, you're not going to be... You shouldn't be bothering about that drone anymore because you know danger is about to come around the corner here, especially with how much they rely on keeping control of the map here. There is no denial. I'm mentioning it again. They need to hold that hatch. And, well, if you lose a player this early on already, that is going to be a very tall ask for the rest of the team here. Openings are being prepared by Saito. I believe that was a rotate up the main square. Yes, Rask finds that kill, jumps down, needs to be careful to not instantly drop the second hatch as well, which he now does. Falls back up towards the A side. They drew the numbers here. They're not going to be playing too aggressively around the CCTV area. They'll all fall back towards the side. There's just a single player left in the open area. It's going to be the castle. Might still rotate. No, still sticks around here. Pasha near the open hatch. Could always use that to drop back down as soon as the pressure does seem to arise, but he gets caught off in the back, actually. He survives, just barely finds a kill from it as well. Absolutely incredible.
3-4-3 now, and they're going to see if they can try and build behind these scrappy firefights happening all over the shop. The lockdown on the white stairs, a smash. Goes for the slow rotate up on the opposite side. His position is an isolated one right now. He's far away from the site itself, and he knows pretty much every single route is covered. How many drones are covering his route? That's the big risk, because if he goes for a push here and he's checked, he's an easy catch. If he's checked and doesn't go for a push, then he's a problem, and a problem that WTG has to sit and wait for. The 2 other players go for the drop, and Smash wins out, takes the cover, and retakes vertical. The other players are down inside. The Candelas pop off, but so does FMX. There's a grenade back up, but Smash has a different idea, and a downward delivery puts them onto map point.
Yeah, as soon as the cover goes down there, they knew exactly. Of course, they were in that elevator. The Gemini replicator came out. You know, at least one person is going to be in there or close around. So you take out the cover above, you can start retaking that hatch, and the high ground is usually the one with the advantage here, and that's exactly how it played out this time. 3v6 in the scoreline. 3 rounds, 3 opportunities for outsiders to lock this off right here, right now. Take those full 3 points back home, and if they want to have an opportunity to make it to the major, all those 3 points are going to be very welcomed here, especially since they were starting off the day in 8th place. This could put them up to 5th. Of course, there is still going to be, other matches being played. This is only the first out of 5 that we have today, so they will most likely still drop, but it is 3 points that you desperately need in your chase to that top 4.
Outsiders, they are closer and closer to pulling themselves a little bit back further up the table in this final run and thread of match days. Pawns, it's been a bit of a rough start and a rough landing for them, and it's sort of been ups and downs. And here, well, this is turning into one of those downs. They have to try and thread and run 3 rounds together. They have to see if they can try and pull off something just to get anything out of this game at this point. But as I said, these moments where outsiders have had these little bits of shine seems to be something that's unfortunately missing from the Pwns players. There hasn't been too much sort of pace and electricity even from the ex-players that have had the best possible time of WTG, who's sort of had these little bites, these little moments, and they've looked better on their attack, but still a lot of work to be done.
There's definitely a lot of work to be done here. 2 minutes 30 on the clock, it's plenty of time. They need to get these drones in, they need to get the information in, find out what they're dealing with so they can form their attack, so they can form their execute. Claimers are being set up to stop any potential jump outs for repels that Scyther is currently dealing with. That might be resulting in a trade kill because, you know, it is quite a long way down. It's a long fall, so there's plenty of time to actually get that kill, but at least you would be confirming the kill eventually. Exodus here is going to be having the ID that indeed someone is out here. Bush, it takes a little bit of damage actually from the LMG. And of course, a grenade will be coming up soon, but first, the magnets and the ADSs need to be wasted here.
Well, Pasha with that buried in, he's able to quickly replace it. Is he in time to catch this? No, is the answer. At least pops the second one, but the main thing is the angle. You're not rotating
it's very high, actually.
onto that, and that's the thing. It means he can crouch and lie down behind it. It also means they get the rotate if they want to in and out. There's another attempt, but that claw's still live. They thought it was going to be another burn and a burst. There it is. But the grenade was more likely to kill him as he saw the ADS get caught.
Yeah, that was it. The ADS popped, and he's like, okay, that means the second grenade might be coming through. Quickly rotated out, now retakes that position. And due to this angle being so high, he can still stand right behind it. It's almost slightly misplaced, and that means they keep control of Kanto, which means they keep control of the spiral stairs.
Can they get a bit of a catch of a player here? There's nothing being handed to Pones, and they've got not a huge amount. And there it is, Capitao. He's going to make his way over, and he's going to see if he can try and get the catch there. That arrow, I don't think connected. Oh, it just went a bit too far. They assumed he'd be buried all the way back in, but as you said, with the height of the opening, he can sit there. Milon sits through, takes care of WTG, who went for a bit of approach on the opposite side. Exodus is just going to have to try and deep dive his way through, but with the other player onto Banana, it's not too easy. They have some pressure on the windows, but at some point it just has to turn into a bit of a 3-2-1. We got to get in the sight, and well, there it is, and there it goes. Milon with a double. The diffuser goes cold on the far side. Exodus and Emission bite back, get one apiece on either two of the staircases. There's Pasha, and yeah, I said it, Milon. He's able to get himself a triple. It just leaves Scyther on the far side. He's going to see if he can try and take the fight into this elevator. Will he get the reveal? Will he know that somebody's still there? He's probably about to find out sooner rather than later. Gets the catch, 10 seconds. He's not going to be able to get the kit. Has to try and find the two remaining players, whether they're aware of this or not. Either way, they're not overextending. They don't have to. And as we hurtle our way towards the end of this game, Outsiders are able to take the 3 points and keep on trucking.
Well played by them there. Their basement attacks, we have to bring it back to there, were quite simple. They went for the long plan. They knew that the square was necessary to be held. However, Pones never really did that, and that kind of gave them an edge. 2 free rounds, as you may, and from there on, they were able to continue going on as a small dance in front of FMX Chem comes through. It's a 7-3 victory. A 3-pointer, well needed for their chase to the top 4.